Profile runs. Basically, the profile runs allows you to visually analyze your drainage network and basically a cross-section of your inlet and your pipe and the water going through it. So it gives you a visual of actually what's going on with your drainage network. In order to create the profile runs, what we will do, you have to have everything laid out like what we have here, and you would have had to go through there and go to your analyze and compute the network. Then the profile run will work like what we're doing right now. So if we go back to the layout tab, there's some options here for your profile runs, and there's some different ones that you can look at. The one that we're going to show for this example is the hydraulic runs to outfall. So basically anything that's connected to that particular network, it's going to visualize that and show you your profile run for that. If you want to do it from a certain node to a certain node, you can do it that way, which that's this one here, hydraulic run from node. But for this example, we're just going to use right here that says hydraulic runs to the outfall. Once you have that, you got two different options that you can do, either up to down or down to up. We're going to go up to down, basically in the direction of flow, and then what feature definition that you want to use. We have a feature definition set up for the profile runs, and it's underneath linear, design, miscellaneous, and there's a feature definition called drainage profile run. Select it. Now on your heads up prompt, it's going to say select your outfall, basically where all that water is going out to, which that's this one right here. And it'll go through there and basically see everything that's connected to it. And then it's going to say click to accept reach design. And I would just simply left click to accept it. And now that profile run has been created. Now to get to that profile run, we will need to go to the Explorer, and underneath Explorer you need to go to this particular group right here that says Drainage and Utilities Model. Expand it down, expand out this, expand out your file, and then you're going to see these four options underneath here, depending on what you have placed. And you can look at some of the stuff that you placed underneath the models inside of here for like your nodes, your conduit, and of course your drainage areas. But for what we're showing here, we're going to expand out the one that says profile runs. So we will expand it out, and since we've created one, we see that we have this particular profile run. Now what we can do is actually right click over it, and there's three different options up here at the top for your profile run. You can open up a profile model, you can do an analysis profile, and you can also do an engineering profile. Of course, if you want to rename it, you can rename it, and there are some other options underneath here. But for what we're showing for this example, I'm going to select the one that says Open Analyze Profile. And now you can see inside here, you can see the actual cross section, and you can see the water, you can see the HGL and the EGL. And to turn on that actual legend, I can come up here and click on the down arrow, and I can click on the one that says Show Legend. And there's some other options underneath here if you want to show some other stuff for like your labeling or your annotations. You can actually turn some stuff on and on with that. Basically, this gives you a visual of the water going through your particular network. Like this one here, it's got a couple hydraulic jumps that may need to be looked at. And anytime that you modify your actual drainage network, this will get updated. And just to show an example of that is, let's say I close out of this, and for this particular one right here, if you remember back in a previous video, we actually hard-coded a Q value, a CFS, of how much water is going into that spot. So if I click on that, and I get to my dynamic toolbar, if I go to Utility Properties, right now it's set to 2 CFS. So let's bump that up quite a bit. Let's go to 10, just to kind of show you what it's going to do for your profile run. So once I have that done, I can close it out. And what you will need to do now, in order for that profile run to get updated, you have to run the analysis again. So I would just go back to my analysis tab, and if I made modifications to it, I can just simply come in here and hit compute. Since that particular scenario is still set to that 25-year event, I can just come up here and hit compute. It'll go through there, it does its calculations. And now if I go back to my profile run underneath the Explorer, and I will go back to the Open Analyze profile, you'll see that since I have quite a bit more water going into it now I have some issues with my drainage network. So that's whenever I would need to go in here and adjust it accordingly. Maybe get this water to go to some other location or make my pipes bigger, whatever I need to do to modify this network in order to get that water to where it's not coming out of the inlets. But in order for this to show the updates, I would need to compute it again in order for those particular calculations to get updated. So I'll go ahead and close it out, and I'll just come back into here again. I'll get to my utility properties. I'll change this back to 2. Close out. I'll compute it again. Close that out. Go back to the Explorer and go to the analysis profile, and you'll see that it's updated. So that's basically using the profile runs to analyze your network. It gives you a nice little visual of the actual water going through it. Another option that you could do also is instead of doing the analysis profile, you could do the open engineering profile, which kind of basically gives you the same thing, and what I would need to do is to zoom into this particular profile, and I'll just use this tool right here that says zoom window, and I'll just left click once, left click again, and you'll see it zooms into that. So this kind of gives you a cross section of your drainage network, similar to your analyze profile option. So those are some of the options with the profile runs if you wish to utilize those.